Hey there, vinyl community. I think we're on, right? Yeah. Um, Thought I'd make a video today. Been putting off a little bit to make my Wire video. Um, Wire was a good band, and they've been with me since like high school when I first discovered them. Kids in my neighborhood used to go up to. We used to walk up to after school, walk up to a little local mall that used to be around, and you know we'd smoke pot on the way there, and then go eat in the food court, and then go to the. There was a little record store called Harmony House, which was a local chain here in the Detroit area, and we would go look at records, and that's where I kind of discovered Wire. I went in there one day, looking around, and I remember they had like a showcase where they would put all the like new releases at, and sitting in there with Phil Collins's big sweaty face and Journey and Van Halen and all those releases was an album that really kind of has been important to me ever since. Where did I put it? It's right here. So this is Ideal Copy. Um, yeah. So this was like 84. I'm sorry, 87. 87. So yeah, this was. I remember I walked home after I tucked it under my arm and bought it. I think I paid probably $6.99 for it, or $8.99 or something like that. Maybe $9.99. Not much more than that. And I didn't know what to. This is back when I used to buy records occasionally, just on impulse, just strictly on what they look like. And so, I got it home and put it on, and yeah, it was fantastic. It was a real revelation. It was a mix of a lot of the things that I liked anyway. It had that kind of punk aesthetic about it, um, coupled with um, this kind of little bit of a studio sheen, Bowie-esque, um, electronic dance, like kind of like a art punk sound. If I was gonna try to label it or something, there's no need to. But and it really turned me on. It really focused my attention, and I had that record for a couple of years, and it wasn't until I remember CDs were not. They were just starting to happen in this area, 87, 88, 89, and then the CD for this album came out, and I remember it had like almost double the number of songs that the album had on it. So it was like discovering like a whole new record. And I went and bought the CD, and there were all these like other songs on there. So love that, and eventually I ended up tracking down the EPs. In the states, if you're from the states, you probably know this too. There's not that. There's for some reason there was never a culture for EPs and for kind of extended singles. That culture never really happened. Even in a pretty good record store, you wouldn't see those releases, and so you might not even know they existed. And if you did, you had to special order them, and it just it's odd that the way that kind of developed. I know in Europe they had a much different and I think healthier culture for you know uh, those kind of alternative formats for records. But yeah, so with after discovering that, after discovering that, I went back to the store and looked into Wire more, and actually bought this Pink Flag. This has already come out because this came out in '77. This is probably the album most people know when they think of Wire. Kind of post punk, very good. I really like it. Three Girl Rumba was the kind of well known track from it, but I really liked it. But it's very different from the Ideal Copy stuff. The Ideal Copy stuff is like the birth of a new band. I think that's what's kind of so exciting about Ideal Copy was it gave Wire a whole new lease on life. It allowed them to open up and go in a whole new direction, and not just do that, but do it really, really well, and arguably become a better band than they were before in those first three records that they did, which are so, famous in the post-punk scene, rightfully so. Um, After that, after those EPs, after rediscovering Pink Flag for myself, then this album came out, and this was 88. So the next year or two, Bells a Cup, When It Struck, came out, and this is really, I think, a continuation of Ideal Copy, with maybe a little bit more sheen, maybe, um, but very, very good and full of great tracks. And the EP we're listening to right now actually is from that album. So this was the EP that was released with Bells a Cup. And yeah, again, songs that, or versions of songs that weren't otherwise available. But by this time, I knew to look for it. You learn, and so if you were like really into music, I'd read through the music magazines. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have any of that stuff. So it was an effort to track down stuff like this. You might have to special order it. It might take you 3, 4, 5 weeks to get a hold of it. But it would be like discovering a whole nother part of the album. All these extra tracks that Wire continues and goes on, and then there started to be a little bit of a buzz around the band. And MTV started to play video for a track that was on this next record. And the song is Eardrum Buzz. Buzz, buzz in the buzz of the eardrum. Cool little video, and I remember seeing it on 120 Minutes, back when 120 Minutes was a thing. And me and my friends were really into that show. And yeah, this is another really, I think, strong release. Not as good as Ideal Copy, but a little bit more commercial. I think intentionally so. I think the band was looking to try to find. I mean, the music wasn't really, the music on these albums, it's not really out there or anything like that. It's nothing that radio couldn't have played if they had been just a little bit more willing to not play Genesis and Phil Collins, 24 hours a day. But, not to be the case. So, another great, strong record, had a little bit of an alternative hit. The next record that comes out is Manscape, which goes deeper into the electronic aspects of the band, but I don't think the songs were there in the same way that they were on the Idea. They just didn't have the songs, or maybe by adding more electronics, it messed a little bit with that formula. I salute them for trying something different, and it's not a bad record, and worth hearing for sure. There's also a best of that came out of just those 3 or 4 records right around that era. Well worth a good introduction. Normally I would never suggest a best of collection, but that's a good way to go if you can find that CD. I still have it in my collection. It's great for listening in the car. Anyway, I wanted to try to make this short, and thank you, and thanks for watching. Wire, great band, and this is a great little era to learn about the band from. Thanks.